It's kind of funny that our academy logo is a light bulb, because you oftentimes see that light bulb go on for students, that all of a sudden they realize that what they have learned in their engineering classes, their science classes, their social science classes, or in their English class kind of all come together and all bridge, and that subjects really aren't taught in isolated silos, that they really do relate to each other.
I try to propose a lot of scenarios so they actually have to critically think and solve problems, much like you would actually be doing. So I try to, I obviously put limits and parameters around it, but try and say, hey, this is a scenario, this is a problem that you need to come up with a solution for. How would you engineer a solution to solve this problem? We've done this in the shop with can crushing projects, and we do it in here with how we're going to move water into a water tower, how we're going to build a crane to pick some stuff up, and then we actually can then go model them or actually build the actual project and see how it actually works.
It's just an amazing experience. I started from basically not knowing anything about engineering, came into the design class via using computers to design models and make models, and slowly worked my way up to the shop classes, and now I'm in the ROP robotics class.
We could actually run simulations on the computer before we actually build it, so they can actually see how the stuff fits together before they just dive headfirst into a project and then they kind of have to slap it together at the end. It's not very cleanly done. So they always encourage them, learn the program, we teach them the skills, the basics of these CAD programs that we use, and then they draw it all up first, and then before they even turn on one piece of machinery or tool in the shop, they could see that it works. Now they just have to execute it in the shop, put it together, and their final product.
For example, right now we're building a footstool. Before we were building solar cars for our solar races. I think it's really fun because you don't really have a set thing to do. He doesn't tell you all your measurements, he doesn't tell you how to do things. It's more like creativity. You have to create it yourself. You have to use your imagination to do things.
A lot of students, they get to design a lot of their own projects too. And they get really into being creative and kind of one-upping one another, or even working together on an assignment. So I have students all the time talking about, over the weekend what they're going to do and how they're going to build this project. And I remember as a student, there's not a whole lot of school I thought about over the weekend. And they come in, they've drawn up stuff at home on a piece of paper, on a napkin. They talked it over with their parents. They've talked it over with their aunts or uncles or whoever it is that they rely on as a resource. And they come in here just gung-ho, ready to go on a lot of these projects. It's fantastic, absolutely wonderful.
Before the academy, it was just strictly academic. I didn't really do any extracurricular activities. And after the academy, I've done projects for community service, for stayed after school for those projects, and also joined the robotics team.
I think the most beneficial aspect of being an IDEA was the EPICS project I did my junior year. EPICS stands for Engineering Projects and Community Service. So my two friends and I actually decided to build a lost and found cabinet for a local elementary school. And it was really nice because not only were we able to use our skills from IDEA in building the project, we were actually able to benefit a local elementary school. And just that sense of satisfaction is what I really look forward to doing as a practicing engineer, is just having the ability to improve the community. And it was nice that I was able to get an introduction to that my junior year of high school here in IDEA.
I started again with projects that link to real world. My biofuel stove project. Something really relevant right now is how to solve these developing countries' issues with safety and food and providing for their families, and integrating that gives them these skills that they can take to college or career and say, oh yeah, I've heard of that, or oh yeah, I've had experience in that before.
We try to, at least in some units, coordinate their English or their science with what's happening in this class, and so they don't see it quite as separate.
One of the ways we do it is we look at kind of an essential question that deals with the relationship between technology and ethics as depicted in literature. For example, we do read a little bit different novels than regular English does. 1984, Frankenstein, Brave New World, books that really explore not only just the impact engineering, all types of engineering has on our world, but even the questions about just because we can do something, should we do something?
So I integrate a biofuel unit where they learn about biomass, And then I also do a biomimicry project where they actually get to talk about how to engineer products using biology as a model, or using nature as a model.
Being together for 4 years, having a lot of common classes through advocacy, we end up doing, we had Academy Week this week that really is a bonding experience for a lot of students. We have our Academy barbecues, and we just have a lot of events that they can do, not only in our school, but to help service the community as well. And I feel that you see a bond with those students that I don't know that you would get outside of an academy.
Well, being in the same classes as everyone in my academy class was, I think, a really positive thing. It allowed us to be closer and become better friends throughout all 4 years. So you know the people in your classes very well by the time you're a senior, even if you might not have known them coming in as a freshman, and I think that's very cool.
In an academy class, let's take the Idea Academy with robotics, and you have information. Well, that's not good enough. You have to be able to build this robot. You have to be able to take this information and apply it to a different kind of setting. So you talk about 21st century skills. I mean, that's exactly what we're trying to do.
Education happens when people are turned on to what they're doing. So that's important, but also it's the wave of the future. Everywhere we look, we hear that so many thousands of people are without jobs, but there are thousands of jobs open that they can't find qualified people for. They have to have skills. And so this is a skill set that is on the rise, it's current, it's happening, and so I think it's great that we can have this in the school.